Colmar, very often referred to as the Pearl of Alsace because of its beauty. But before we cross that river to get to France, please look to the left, and there it is, the American Embassy. Strategically placed on the border here, and on this first bridge, look at the flags on either side of the river, on either side of the bridge. Spain on the right-hand side, we have Denmark on the left, Greece on the right, the United Kingdom, although it's not a member of the United, they're still there, somebody should take it down there. On the right we have Holland, the flag of the European nations, the blue one with the yellow stars. We have Sweden on the right, Portugal on the left, the flag of Breisach itself is here on the right, and last but not least, La France on the left-hand side, the tricolor of France. Red, white and blue it is. Red, white and blue, and it won't be the last you'll hear of those, the tricolor of France today. And that first bridge, you know, has brought us onto an island in the middle of the Rhine River. It's a recreational island, 9 kilometers long, and it's about 6
We're
miles
now in
long.
France.
And it's people come here to relax on sunny afternoons, and this island belongs to France. So we are already in France in the blink of an eye. We did it. We have to cross the Grand Canal d'Alsace as well, the Great Canal of Alsace, stretching all the way from Basel down there to Switzerland, all the way up to the Strasbourg in the north of the Alsace region. And strung like pearls along this river, along this canal, are these hydroelectric works that you can see ahead of us on the right-hand side. And they supply both Germany and France with electricity. So how come it was so easy to cross from Germany into France? Well, it all goes back to what they call the contract of Schengen. And under the contract of Schengen, you know, there are by now 28 borders within and more within the European Union that you can cross without having your passports checked or your luggage opened or any of these unpleasant things. It's a wonderful thing, the contract of Schengen. But you know, ladies and gentlemen, I had a sleepless night last night. Oh, I was worried. Worried about what I talked to you about on the way to Colmar today, and then at 5:30 this morning, I had my moment of enlightenment. Yes, I decided I'd give you a French lesson. You all learnt a little bit of French, I take it?
Oui. Oui.
Yeah, oui is a good start. Oui is the affirmative, of course. The negative, on the other hand, no. You know, in French, they like to stretch those vowels out nasally. No. Let's try that. After 3, 1, 2, 3. No. Very good. I'm impressed. Wonderful. And, you know, a useful phrase, a question which might come in handy later on this afternoon. Où sont les toilettes? Où sont les toilettes? Where are the bathrooms? Où sont les toilettes? After 3, 1, 2, 3. Où sont les toilettes? Very good. And while we're on the subject, it's only fair to warn you at this point that in the old city of Colmar, you know, there are not that many public conveniences. But what you will find plenty of are cafes and restaurants. And if you really need to use the bathrooms, don't hesitate. Enter one of those cafes and restaurants, and if you feel guilty about it, order a cup of coffee. And we'll come back to that in a minute. But you know, it's always good to learn some polite turns of phrase when you learn a new language. For instance, before you enter a conversation with a French person, it's good to start with bonjour. Bonjour. After 3, 1, 2, 3. Bonjour. Very good, because if you start with bonjour, there's a chance that he might answer. But now we break off from our French lesson and let's look to the right. And there you'll see a strange cage-like structure. That is where they store the corn over the winter. You know, maize, corn, and corn is a very important crop over the side of the river as well. They have different kinds of corn, and they put it to many different uses. Some is used for human consumption, some used for animal fodder. They put it to many industrial uses as well. For instance, they use it for fuel. They use it for making corn oil for cooking. They brew beer using corn over the side of the river. And not only that, but they also use the leaves of the corn plant to produce paper. Just some of the uses that they put the corn crop to over the side of the river. Good. Now, to return to our French lesson. Yes, indeed, polite turns of phrase. You probably know this one, I'm sure. After 3, 1, 2, 3, s'il vous plaît. And the answer to s'il vous plaît, merci, or merci beaucoup. And the intonation, ladies and gentlemen, don't forget, it is of the utmost importance. Can you see them? It's star-shaped, it's moat-like structure surrounding that city. It takes us back to the 17th century, to the time of Louis XIV of France, the Sun King. And you know, up until 1697, Louis was in charge of Prise over the river there behind us. But he was pushed out in 1697 by the Austrians into what we now know of as France here. Brought from the Vosges Mountains, there you can see ahead of us and to the left of us there. And in order to facilitate the transport of all those rocks from those mountains to the city of New Breisach, he built a canal all the way. And that canal, you can still see, it still can be seen today. And by the way, on the way back from Colmar later on this afternoon, I'll pass around some pictures amongst you. And one of those pictures will be an aerial photograph of the Vauban fortifications, so that you can see how beautiful they are. But now we go right back in history to prehistoric times when this region, you know, was inhabited by hunters and gatherers. We know around 1500 BC, that's when the Celts first arrived here, and the Celts, they started clearing and cultivating the land around here. It was in 58 BC that the Romans first invaded, and the Romans, they established Alsace as a center of viticulture, as a wine-growing region, which it remains until today. And you know, the wines of Alsace are respected and enjoyed all over the world. But you know, with the decline of the Roman Empire, Alsace, for a while, it became the territory of the Alemanni. Now, some of you might have heard of the Alemanni this morning. They were also the first people to move. A group of tribes from Swabia, back there in Germany, a little bit northeast from here, and the Alemanni, they came here, and it was the language of the Alemanni which formed and forms the basis of modern-day Alsatian. This is the dialect which is still spoken around these parts, you know. It was during this period that they were first Christianized. And it remained a part of this Frankish realm right up until 843, when that realm was formally dissolved. But you know, the grandsons of Charlemagne of 1356, one of the worst natural disasters they hit these parts in the Middle Ages. So the people of Alsace here, they went through some rough times, tough times in the 14th century. But you know, the good times began to return once again in the 15th and the 16th centuries. This was under the Habsburg administration. This was the time of the Renaissance. So that by the time of the Protestant Reformation, at the beginning of the 16th century, the people of Alsace were doing very well for themselves once again, and they readily accepted Protestantism. However, the Roman Catholic Habsburgs, who ruled not where you might expect it to be, along the Rhine River behind us, initially it was along the Vosges Mountains. There you can see ahead of us rather more clearly now. In other words, separating Alsace from the rest of France. But this was the initial period. Gradually, Alsace became more and more and more a part of France proper. And you know, Alsace remained a part of France for almost 250 years. Right up until 1870. And it was in 1870 that France, under great provocation from the Prussians now over the river behind us, France declared what would later become known as the Franco. France had lost all of Alsace and half of the neighboring province of Lorraine as well to the Germans. Now you might have realized this is the first time that I mentioned Germany or the Germans today. Why? Quite simply because up until 1871, Germany as such did not exist. Up until then, they'd just been a collection of states. You see, the Hanoverians, the Bavarians, the Prussians, the Badener, the Austrians were amongst them. But now, in 1871, for the first time, Germany was united under Otto von Bismarck, and Alsace here found itself to be a part of this new German empire. And they didn't like it. Because after 250 years of speaking French, suddenly everybody had to speak German. And German culture, Alsace has belonged to France, and it looks likely to remain a part of France for the foreseeable future. Mind you, France is a republic made up of many different peoples. It might interest you to know that in France, in the 19th century, Languedoc, they had their own Occitan language. Further south again, you come to the Basque country, and many of them, they still speak the Basque language today, and some of them have designs and some form of autonomy as well. In the northwest of France, you come to another province called Bretagne, or Brittany. It's an old Celtic people, and some of them still speak the old Celtic language, the Breton, today. All of these regions are, to some extent, they are supported by the central government in Paris as elements of regional identities. And Alsace here is one of those regions. And the old Alsatian dialect is taught in the schools once again. German is also taught in the schools once again. But as a we're going to take a little detour.
This is a French auto
to show
route.
you a landmark. It's a landmark which will certainly remind you of something that you've seen before in your lives, either on your TV screen or in real life. And we're going to get there in about 5 minutes' time. And while we're in the process of doing that, I think it might be a good idea for us to acquaint ourselves with these little maps that I passed out amongst you. So please open your maps. Now the direction. Now, if you see somebody in front of you, behind you, or to your side, snoozing, sleeping, or even snoring, give them a little nudge, wake them up. I knew it. Okay. You give them a nudge. Nobody else is giving them a nudge. Wake up. They get some information coming your direction. Please have a look at your maps. So we have a map. Please open them. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, we've all... You can see her from all angles. Miroslav is in love with her, actually. It would take all my powers of persuasion to stop him from circumnavigating her all afternoon. But I will do it once for us. And you can see her from all angles. Look at this. This, for instance, is the New Jersey angle. I know. I used to watch The Sopranos. I know. And you'll probably wonder why is there a Statue of Liberty here on the outskirts of the city of Colmar? Well, you might be aware of the fact, that the original Statue of Liberty was a gift from the French nation to New York, to the United States. And, the creator of the original Statue of Liberty was a man called Frederic Auguste Bartholdi, and Bartholdi was a Colmarian, and he was born here in Colmar in 1834. And that particular version of the Statue of Liberty behind us there, that was erected in 2004 in order to commemorate the 100th anniversary of Bartholdi's death in 1904. And I promise you, ladies and gentlemen, whatever you do this afternoon, it won't be the last you'll hear of that man, Bartholdi. Okay, good. Now then, ladies and gentlemen, it is finally time for us to try out our listening devices. So, the first thing you have to do, you have to find your listening device. Root around the bottom there, and you'll eventually find it.
Thank you.
So, and as soon as you found your listening device, please wait. Always be patient with them, and eventually they will. We are getting closer and closer to our. We're getting closer to the west part, and you see the orange light ahead of you on the left hand side. That marks the entrance to the west part. Good. Now then, ladies and gentlemen, promises